Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unconventional GMs, a series of shows where we play games with vim and vigour and try and get things done in 2 hours or less. This particular show tonight might be even shorter, might be about 90 minutes, but we'll see how we go. 2 hours max, I think. My name's Gaz. I'm from the What Would the Smart Party Do podcast, as well as this particular endeavour, and with me, my co-conspirator in Unconventional GMs is Mr. Guy Milner. How's it going, Guy?
It's going very well, very well. I'd say I'm Guy Milner of this Unconventional GMs and the Burn After Running blog. And yeah, looking forward to a tight one-shot. Well, it's not a one-shot, is it? To be fair, this is part of an ongoing game we're playing, a little slice. Be a one-shot for the viewers at home, though.
Yeah, so we're probably saying for the viewers that this is part of an ongoing playtest that we've been doing. The game is Deathmatch Island. It's a bit like Hunger Games or even the Prisoner, if you remember the 1960s show or something like that, all that kind of stuff. So the characters don't really know what's going on and they're stuck on an island with weird and wonderful things happening on. And there's other competitors. So which competitor are you playing tonight, Guy?
I am playing Calliope Kruger. She, her, tag name Houdini, an Air Force veteran who was summarily dismissed from the forces for some as yet unknown indiscretion that's not yet been revealed in the fiction. Maybe in the next hour we'll find out what she did that was so bad. So she is now competing to try and redeem herself.
Excellent stuff. And with us also we have Chris, or Dirk the Dice. How's it going, Dirk?
Hi guys, hi Guy. Yeah, I'm Dirk the Dice from the Grognard Files. Glad to be here. Been enjoying playing this over the last few months.
And what character are you playing tonight?
I am playing Nigel Headley, otherwise known as Tarzan, known because of his battle cry. And he spent most of his time in the basement of his mum's, coming up with various conspiracy theories. And he is a high scorer in a virtual game. So he believes that he has the military expertise to win at this particular game. Unfortunately, he's in a state of disrepair at the moment with various broken bones due to an unfortunate dabbing incident last time.
I'm suddenly being reminded, it's been a while, dear listeners and watchers, since we actually played this game, so there's things coming flooding back to me now, even as we discuss the characters that I recall. And last but not least, we have our good friend Paul. How's it going?
I'm all right, mate. Thank you very much. I'm Paul. I'm SpookShow71 on the Twitter. I draw stuff. Tonight, I'll be playing Ted Mason, whose nickname is Mentalist, and you can draw your own conclusions about what that means. He's a shark-like character. He's out of the corporate world and probably, well, out of his depth, frankly, on Deathmatch Island, but I'm sure he'll sort himself out.
I'm sure everything will come out in the wash, as they say. Excellent stuff. So, we've got a couple of bits to do between islands. So, for everybody at home, you'll have to imagine what happened, but there was a kind of tropically island that they were on last time. There was a bunch of different competitors and shenanigans went on. There was injuries. There was sneaking into behind production lines into places they shouldn't go to try and find what's going on. There was robbing people of the stuff. There was life and death struggles. There was fires and all kinds of things that occurred. So the battered and bruised competitors now bouncing on one of those inflatable boats with a two-stroke motor on the back of it towards another island. Been going for some time, and they have time to sort of reflect and speak to each other and kind of just have a moment's respite from the ongoing struggle that they were going through on that island. And who knows what the new one will present us with. But the first thing they do at the start of this session is to theory craft. So each of you, having been through your experiences, will have some idea about what's going on, because as the game is presented, it doesn't actually tell you like what's the big secret behind. We have to find that out as we play along. So Gash, shall we start with you? What does Houdini say to his fellow competitors? What does he think's happening? And how are you all dressed as well? It's probably worth mentioning that at this point.
How we're all dressed, I think we determined at the start of the game that our uniform, was it salmon pink turtlenecks, I'm thinking?
That's right.
I don't want to get confused with...
I think you had blazers as well, but yeah.
Yeah. Were they blue, I think? Yeah.
Like a turquoisey colour, I think.
Turquoise blue, yeah. So we're all dressed in a selection of that. I think as we're on the boat, I think I'll turn to my friend and say, this is like boot camp all over again, except slightly more brutal and unexpected. clearly some sort of political program to try and get the best of the best. That's why we've been selected. That's why we're surviving. What do you guys think?
I don't know. It
Well,
seems.
man.
God.
Man, you're part of the problem, man. You're part of it, aren't you? You know more about this. And you're letting on. Of course, it's part of the political project. You're part of the elites. You're fighting for them. Oh man, my arm's hurting.
Not this again.
Look, you guys might have something, but seriously, this is just a distraction. This is some kind of enormous political maneuver, to sort of like keep the populace kind of, their eyes off what's actually important in the world. It's misdirection. I've seen this done in boardrooms and corporations a dozen times. It's textbook, just on a larger scale.
Yeah, and I'm part of the problem. Yeah, right. Tarzan. Yeah, you see.
Yeah.
Listen
both
to
of
him.
you are. Both of you are. You're bankrolling this. I mean, it's clearly some kind of depopulation program. I don't know how it works. Entertain the masses by getting rid of schlubs like me. Whereas you're part of the problem, man. You're part of the problem.
There's recriminations on the small boards as you all like each other. But it has to be said for viewers at home that you have formed quite a close bond as a team, because there were hundreds of competitors originally. Who knows how many will be left over? Maybe it's down to dozens by the time you reach Island 2. But after a stony silence for some time, as you all like each other, human nature comes out, and you can't help but try and find out a little bit more about each other. So, who amongst you is going to ask a trust-building question with one of your colleagues?
I think Nigel Tarzan is gonna ask Ted, how do you make friends? Because we made a mistake on that island. We tried to go it alone, and I just think we just need help. We need others. We need to work together. How do you do it, man? When was the last time you made a friend?
Ted looks out across the sea and but for a few moments there's a kind of like a silence. He doesn't. It's almost like he can't find the words. And as he turns to you, Tarzan, there's a sadness in his eyes. It's like I've never found it easy making friends. Not ever, not ever. It's just been difficult, man. It's all business. It's all like cutthroat, dog eat dog, and all the rest of it. I just don't know how to do it. I'm hoping I can learn. Wipe a tear away and look away.
More than you bargained for. Okay, so you two each get a bond with each other, and then Paul, your character gets to ask someone else a question. Probably if you ask Houdini something, then we can form a circle. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, Houdini. I mean, all this business, this military business, man. I mean, what damage has it done to you? I mean, tell me, how has it changed you? At what point did you realize, that being in the military was just kind of like, what was it doing to you? Did you have a moment when you kind of went, oh man, I'm not sure if this is really the right thing?
Never. Proudest days of my life serving. It's an honor. It's always been an honor. And she like kind of grabs you by the turtleneck lapels of the cyan blazer. Says, never. It was an honor. It was an honor. I'd go back there again tomorrow if I could. And then sort of, I'd go back there tomorrow if I could. Anyway, look sharp.
Sit back in the boat.
He's part of the problem, isn't he? She is, rather.
I think I'll turn to Tarzan now and say, as someone who's spent most of your time just playing silly games, you were pretty capable out there. What kind of action have you actually seen, Tarzan? What sort of military training have you actually had?
Well, military is perhaps stretching it a bit, but I've played various games and got good at it as well. I'm probably good at accessorizing, and I'm pretty good at forming bolt holes and sniper positions. That's really my MO, and that's how I was able to get on the leaderboard. So yeah, thanks for recognizing that. It means a lot.
Yeah, just remember it's real life out there, though. This isn't a game. As looks around as we arrive on some island. This isn't a game anymore. This is for real. As we approach the game. that we were playing.
Tell me about it. Look at this arm. I ain't going to restore these hit points, man. This is real blood.
I was just about to say that, Houdini. I mean, look at the state of Tarzan. Look at him. He's covered in blood. He's got like dozens of wounds all over him, and he's still going. I mean, it beggars belief. I just can't understand it. I mean, like, Tarzan, how do you keep going, man? I mean, how can you put up with this kind of punishment? What have you been through, man?
We just need to hit the checkpoint, man. Hit the checkpoint, and we'll all be restored. That's how it works.
Yeah. You tell yourself that. You tell yourself that, mate.
Excellent. Well, talking of injuries and recovery stuff, some of the characters will have fatigue from the last island. The bad news is that your injuries are going to stay with you unless you get an advance, which allows you to clear an injury. So maybe it's in a cast now. In that typical when you arrived at the island, if you remember, you kind of blacked out and woke up. Maybe when you walk on this boat, your broken arms and such are now in splints and cast up with plaster of Paris and stuff. You don't know how it's happened, but freshly applied medical stuff's been done to you so that you can actually compete at least. So all of you get to clear 2 of your fatigue, and if you've got some small luxuries or another resource like that you can spend, then you can make that 4 fatigue that you can clear. So I'll allow you to do that with your characters as and when you've all got your own individual character sheets. So again, a note for people watching, there might be a bit of a theatre of the mind here, as I've got some stuff that I'm showing the players, but we haven't got real estate on the screen to show you. So there is actually a map of the island that the players get to view, just so you know how the game works. And as you're bouncing toward this island, there's going to be 3 points where the crew could land, but it's going to be up to them. And they haven't got a lot to go, and they've really just got a description and a little key that shows some icons of whether maybe there's a challenge there or some resources or that sort of thing. But that's going to be up to those guys. So I'll try my best to describe it all for you. But if you can imagine as you're viewing that there's an actual interface for the players to interact with, I'm not just making random stuff up. So as you bounce towards this new island, as the weather's getting more and more inclement, it looks like, I don't know, maybe it could be the Hebrides, maybe it's somewhere, maybe it feels like Scandinavia or Scotland or somewhere North Sea-ish, because the seas have gone from the blue that they were to more slate grey. The clouds above are fat and heavy with rain, and big greasy drops are starting to patter on you, though you barely notice with all the spray coming up from this slate coloured ocean with its white foam that's stinging your eyes saltily. But as you do a scout round the island, you can see there's a large central mountain to it, maybe a volcano even. It's not got a peak, it's got a kind of flattened top, but it seems unlikely it would be a plateau, given the size and location that you think you might be. But skirting around, there's various coves and things, and there's 3 points where you think you could probably alight upon the island and begin the competition. There's a canal access gate, if you imagine something a little bit like a lock gate you get on canals, but souped up to kind of industrial level, so big concrete doors, for one about, or sea gates with like mesh catwalks on the top, all a bit rusty buoys about and things like that. Further round on the west, there's a water treatment facility which has got, again, big concrete buildings and lots of pipes and tubes and mechanisms, maybe some steam coming up from somewhere, hard to tell with the mist and rain and stuff. And to the south of the island, there's what looks like a business park, which is in marked contrast to the other 2, which, I don't know, maybe that seems more low-key or less industrial anyway, certainly. So given those 3 choices, I'll let you decide amongst yourselves where it is you think you might want to alight.
It'd be madness to go to that huge concrete canal gate, which is why we should go there, because no other competitors will think to do that. It's only us that are brave enough to try and tackle it from there. And I think it'll give us good access to that volcano, which is probably key to this island.
Is this the kind of tactical military thinking that took you far in your career previously? Do what the enemy wouldn't.
As you point out, I'm glad you noticed. Yes, it is. The volcano is clearly a strategic point. It's probably worth, I'll turn over to Tarzan, worth a lot of points or something if we capture it. Don't you agree?
But Houdini, we were on our own last time. I think we need to work together. I think if we go to that business park, we're more likely to pick up some competitors who can work with us. We were too exposed. We were too exposed. We were on our own when that battle came. We were just us guys against thousands, hundreds. They were coming from everywhere. I think we should go to the business park and make some companions. That's all I'm thinking. It's counterintuitive to how I normally play, but I think this time it would make sense.
Tarzan might be onto something there. Going to
Might be big,
take over a company. You need as much, as many votes as possible. We need to rally numbers.
Yeah, we need a bigger squad of. If we can find some people as look to the two of them as capable as us, I'm sure we should join forces, and maybe we'll be more successful. Let's go to the business park.
Okay.
Very good. Leaving the almost post-apocalyptic industrial wasteland of the north behind you. That's no comment on where certain players are from or anything like that. As you bounce further south, you round the mountainous parts on the south of the island and find the business park ahead of you. It's a cluster of identical-looking office buildings, cubes of mirrored glass and asphalt roads and empty gravel lots, stuff like that. And there are other boats there already that have scrunched up onto the pebbly shore, and you're crunching boots as you land and start marching up. Continue to crunch on the gravel pathways as you go further up. There's wind whistling between these vacant buildings, and if you thought it was cold on the sea, I thought you might get some respite. You're somewhat disappointed as the buildings seem to funnel and channel the cold air into a narrow beam to really put the shiver on your wet clothes. Even though they are a lovely bright salmon pink, they feel quite grey and miserable as they stick to your skin. There's drifts of mentling slow around, sheaves of paper blowing around, and there's a crack of a gunshot and glass shatters, and you sort of rush to see what's happening. Is it danger? Is it something that you can get involved with? And you notice that there's dozens of people in the sort of central area jostling around each other. There's someone stood up on a crate of some sort. A woman, probably middle-aged, although young middle-aged, hair swept back in a bun. She's wearing, of course, a turtleneck and blazer like you all are, each of you with your 3-digit number on your chest. And she seems to be quite passionately and heartfelt, emotionally addressing the crowd. I mean, you can see other people coming from various different ways and different pathways and listening to what she's saying. And you catch it on the wind as she says, "I came here with glasses, but now I can see. My eyesight's 20/20. The island is healing us. In the last island, I broke my hand, but look." And she sort of flexes it, not entirely convincingly, but it doesn't look broken at least. "You must see sense. We must all come together. Here we can heal. That island, that last one, that was the challenge, but this is the promised land. We must all lay down our weapons." And you can see there's one guy disgruntled who's shot a window out nearby. He said, "Oh, you can't possibly be listening to this woman. Are you crazy? What is wrong with you people?" And there's a bit of a susurration. I'm like, "Oh no, but what if it is? What if we've been through tribulation? What if this is like heaven and that was hell or something?" Like, "Oh yeah, I mean, we don't know, do we?" "Yeah, I can walk now. I couldn't walk before." And people look skeptically at some guy who doesn't seem to have anything wrong with him, but he's strutting around like he's got new legs all of a sudden. Are you going to pretend to be part of the faithful and to go along with what this woman says? Are you perhaps going to try and make the crowd see sense that this is obviously some kind of charlatan that's confusing them, or maybe leading lambs to the slaughter? Maybe you're just going to drive all the reborn away and scatter people so there's not too many in one place and you're not in so much danger? Or perhaps you do something else. What's your approach going to be?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I found her quite convincing.
Do you feel any better?
I was ready. I was ready to throw down my splints, and
yeah, she's got a following already, hasn't she? And that's what we're sort of that's what we're saying we need to do. There's lots of them here.
What? So we become part of the group and then, quote unquote, change it from the inside.
Yeah, and or just get better. If Tarzan's right, we'll just heal.
I look forward to the balance sheet showing me where the the wounds have improved and all the rest of it. But
Yeah.
I hate to be skeptical, but you're right. We need people.
She knows where the checkpoint is, the refresh point. If she can get us to that, we'll all feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So I think
we're going to play
I think
nice
that,
then.
Yeah.
yeah, I think we say we join her. We will add to the voices of support.
Okay. So obviously they're not just accepting anyone. They're suspicious. There's one guy already waving a pistol around, and some of the new people turn up could just be there to fool them. So you're gonna have to make a challenge basically to see if you can convince Callisto, the leader's cult, and followers that you're part of the faithful and not going to like underhandedly backstab them or something, because they're all mentally scarred from the Lost Island and they've been burned before as it is. So effectively, excuse me, this is going to be a social game. So you pick the social domain. If you want to spend any of your fatigue, you could bring in a second capability if you are able to narrate how that's appropriate. You always get your name die. If your nickname's appropriate, you can use that. And if there's any acquisitions you want to use, of course you can bring those in as well. And if you spend trust with other players, as long as the player agrees, you can get their name die for spending trust. So if you want to assemble your respective die pools, and just give me a brief flavour of how you're going to approach it, and then we'll do the full description once we roll dice and know how well you did.
Cool. Tarzan, what's your name die?
Mine is D6.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going. I pull out my hand, carefully selecting a part of my body that isn't actually injured. There aren't that many left. And indeed, it's a miracle. Look. Remember my hand? Looking at Tarzan. How badly injured it was, but now it's fine. We should join her. I'm gonna spend a fatigue to bring in snake mode because I am lying as well.
Aren't you just?
I'm going to sort of go around, and as Houdini's talking about his hand, and I'm going to start like kind of trying to whip up the sort of crowd, going, look at it, it's true, it must be true. Look at it, the evidence is right there in front of your eyes. So I'm just going to stick to social, I think, and if I can invoke mentalist, I'm going to try and sort of manipulate people into kind of like pointing their attention at what's important.
Sounds
Go
good
for
to
that,
me.
I reckon.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and so Tarzan is going to use his nickname, but in the sense of Tarzan of the Apes, and he knows that if he starts speaking, he usually puts people off him. So he's going to try the stranger in a strange land approach and just like touch these people as though he's like some innocent. Take me on board, make me part of your people, and I look quite full on anyway because I'm injured. So I'm going to take a fatigue because I'm going to make real use of my injuries to put over the point that I need healing.
Very good. Right. So I've noticed that my macro is slightly off. It should be keep host one of those. So the target number is actually going to be simplest 5, 12 is the target number you're looking to beat.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, I shaved a point off there for you.
I appreciate that. I know it won't happen again, but yeah.
Okay, so Tarzan and Houdini suffer, so we'll start the narration basically. But you two need to roll your name die to see who was worst, which is always a pleasing roll to make. Okay, so Tarzan was the worst. She'll describe what happened first, then Houdini will sort of like compound those errors, and then Mentalist at the end can tell us how he turns it around and you get accepted. So Tarzan, how does your touching people not quite work?
Well, by this point, despite the bandages, there's still blood seeping through the bandages, and some of it drips onto the shoes. It's looking quite pathetic. And I suppose everybody's reluctant to take somebody who's so injured on board. So they turn their backs on me, and I feel quite humiliated by it as well. That tactic just didn't work.
One or two people in the crowd are going, What about the unclean on the island? There's some that aren't blessed. So what about that? What do we do about those? And Callisto stroking the chin, thinking, "Oh yeah, something must be done about them."
I think there's like a bit of a brief moment of sunlight burst through the clouds, like as I hold up my arm, my hand to do it. I'm showing it as I sort of limp forward, and then it just illuminates my face as my shining eyes go towards it with the sort of massive black eye on one side that clearly hasn't healed at all. So similar to Tarzan, I don't really convince her that I've been healed at all. And at the mention of the unclean ones, there's like a flicker of recognition across these eyes that, oh, maybe they've fallen for us. Maybe they've got a plan for this.
And one of the Callisto's attendants points at your face and says, "What does this mean, Callisto? Is this the evil spirit showing itself visibly on their faces?" Oh, that could be true. I hadn't thought about that. So, Mentalist, how do you try and save the day?
All right. Well, I've seen this sort of thing before. I've seen board meetings go south. I've seen the crowd start to turn on the person. I'm thinking I'm not having any of that. So I'm going around all the crowd. I'm saying like, look at these wounds, and I'm pointing at all the places that specifically aren't wounded. Yeah, like the small part of Tarzan that's not actually damaged at this point. Anything on Houdini that's not his hand, maybe. I don't know. Sort of like trying to just like draw it away and just say, no, look, seriously, these people could barely move. They were the last island hurt them so badly. It's clear. It's clear. And I want to like point my hand up to Callisto and sort of like, get folks to look at her as well. I've done this business before. I've moved the sort of point of direction of the people's attention. No, look, seriously, this is exactly what's happening. We should get behind it because honestly, I'm moved by this. Moved.
Oh, you're all talking nonsense, shouts the man with the gun from the back, just to try and break the spell. And someone just socks him on the jaw, and he goes down, and there's a pile up on top of him as people beat him into unconsciousness, or maybe more. Who knows? But the fact is, your calm words against the backdrop of this guy who was obviously against you, it does distract people enough that let's just, oh no, come on, we must be generous and give them time. We must give them a day to heal. They've only just got to the island. If we give them time, their wounds will heal. I'm confident of it. Oh yeah, and everybody sort of grabs around the sits. But what should we do, Callisto? What should we do? We can't just sit here. Surely at some point the things will go wrong for us. We must do something. She's like, very good. Perhaps our new friends can go scouting for us. Yes. Tell me, sisters and brothers, would you not wish to go out for us and see what... I'm sure there's bounteous rewards just waiting over those hills. If perhaps you could return with them for us to show a true gesture of your faith. Everyone else has supplicated before me, but you're new to us, so perhaps to show how truthful your words are, you could go and retrieve us some delicious foods that are no doubt waiting.
We'd be happy to. I'm certain.
Oh, good. Oh, everything's going so well. Oh, moments like this, I normally get a headache, but my mind is so clear, and she starts rambling on again.
Loosen the bun.
I worked. It works. You're indeed one of us. Excellent. And the crowd continue their little bubble and start to reinforce each other, and some of them start to sit down. A couple investigate new houses that they might just take over, or perhaps if we could fashion some curtains. And they're all obviously completely deluded because this is Deathmatch Island and this is all going to end badly at some point. But for now, at least, peace reigns. So one of you, Mentalist, you won the last challenge, so you're nominally the leader. So you get to tell. Oh, there's a finger up. Hello.
Yeah, I just from that contest, we get some followers, don't we? Before we go into this one.
Oh yeah.
So Paul, you get the full amount, and we get half, don't we?
Yes. Sorry. So it's a mechanic like Glory. I assumed you'd just be able to all do it yourselves. I'll explain it for our listeners who maybe don't know. Yes, whoever won, succeeded, the best gets the full amount, whatever the target number was, so it's 12. Anybody who succeeded but wasn't best gets half that, and then people who failed, who suffered, get 1.
So we get 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does my name die go up now, Gaz?
If you've hit the little...
Yes.
The success, yes, it does. So again, for viewers at home, once your follower count, which is Glory in the Gong, the game this is based on, reaches a certain level, your name die goes up. So everything you do is just at a higher level because you're more famous and glorious and people know you. And in this particular setting, that means if there are people at home, we don't know what the background is, who production are, but if it's a TV show, then definitely there's more people on Twitter and Insta and whatever else and TikTok following Mentalist in particular, and probably fewer following Houdini. But this could all change.
Yeah, I think you're a meme right now, Mentalist. There's a hashtag. So that's why your name dress has gone up, hasn't it? So,
yeah.
Brilliant.
There's a meme with you going, but look at her face, but look at her face. Or something, you know. But you are nominally leader now, so that might change if someone else wins the next competition. Yep. But for now, you get to choose where you go. So people at home can't see it, so I'll explain briefly. But there is the map, as I've described, and it's got nodes with edges, lines that link between them. So there's certain places you can and can't go. So unlike something like a gun where it's freeform in this particular game, you have to go from location to location and pick stuff up. A little bit board gaming. So looking around, you can see the big mountains that I mentioned to the south. There's some kind of complex on the top of one of them. That'd be a bit of a hike up the side of a cold, craggy mountain, but there's that there. The valley that kind of leads more or less north, sort of northeast north. There's some kind of mental acuity testing area. Apparently, there's a big sign at the edge of the settlement that shows that. And more kind of so that was more northwest. Northeast, there's an observation and control tower you can see on some small hills that seems to have a commanding view of the island. So where is it you wish to head first?
Well, based on what we can see, I think it'd be a pretty good idea to get to the observation and control tower that direction. Get a lay of the land. Does that sound tactically suitable, gentlemen? Sorry, forgive me.
I definitely Foxhole. That's what we need.
Yeah, to get scouted. We can sketch the like forward observe. That's the most tactically useful. Yes.
Excellent. No dissent in the ranks. So that's where people can try and trade trust to convince the leader to go somewhere else, but you all seem with accord. So the three of you head off. It's quite a short hop, okay? And it's the least troublesome of the routes, so it doesn't take you too long. But it looks like a kind of rectangular needle of weathered concrete that's maybe 15 stories high. As you approach it, you get a sense of how big it is. There's a small door in the base, so 4 small windows at the very topmost floor, and a rusty antennae fixed on the flat roof that kind of chops the top off the needle, if you see what I mean. But scanning around, there doesn't seem initially to be anybody about or other competitors. It seems a bit of a clear run. So you can just happily head up there. And as you get there, there's no lock on the door. There's no guards. You've been aware before there have been traps or hidden gun emplacements or things they've triggered when you've gone to redacted areas. But even when being cautious, there doesn't seem to be any of that. All that waits ahead of you is an epic flight of stairs that will be lung bursting and leg burning to go up, especially if you've got the broken limbs, for example. So it's up to you. Do you just wish to head up, or are you going to try and race each other? Does someone else want to be a leader? Are you going to challenge each other to get to the top fastest? Or are you going to stay as a little group and just meander and take your time?
Strength in numbers.
I think we save our energy. While this would be a great test of our endurance and how well my broken ribs have healed, let's just make our way up slowly. We might have more things to challenge us once we get to the top.
My instinct is saying that we should race each other and survival of the fittest of the three of us, but I'm hurting right now, so I agree. Let's amble up there and take our time.
Okay, and take some time you do. So by the time you've got there, legs burning, lungs with a cold air just feel like they've been cheese grated from the inside. But you finally clamber up to the top of this observation tower and see a bare room at the top. More or less bare. There are sort of little few choice pieces for you when you get there. There's a couple of metal folding chairs and a packet of crisps and a few cans of beer, an ashtray full of cigarette butts. as if someone's been here watching, and then salt-crusted windows that give breathtaking views sprawling below. You can see to the north across a cove, there is what almost certainly is a volcano. The top of that big mountain that you saw with a flat top, something's steaming out of it for sure. You don't know how active it might be, but it's not just a mountain. You can see caves dotted to the east of that. You can see at its base, between you and the volcano, there's some kind of brutalist reactor facility on a frozen lake. But you're aware that area is redacted, and you can see from here the chain link fences and other defences that might be there. The mental acuity testing on the mountains to your now west look like a modernist building, lots of glass and brushed metal. You're not quite sure what's going on there, and you can spot other things further off in the distance, but it's less clear to get any more details. But from your position in the observation tower, you've really only got two other choices to move forward. It's to head towards the testing area for mental acuity, or it's to go for the redacted area, where you really shouldn't go, and production have warned you away from the reactor facility. What you're going to do is you pop open some cans of beer and grab some crisps. You can note down that you've got two small luxuries to split between you, and the leader decides where they go. You've got 2 recon gear to split between you, and you've got 1 redacted acquisition of tier 1. But it's up to you, mentalist, to decide how they're split up, and then where you're going to go next.
Well, I split the gear equally, guys. Friends, take what you want. I mean, you're in more need than me. It seems clear, especially you, Tarzan. So we've got 2 small luxuries, 2 recon gear, and what was the last one, guys? Sorry.
1 redacted acquisition, tier 1.
A redacted acquisition. All right. Well, yeah. Take what you need.
So if I take a small luxury and a recon gear,
Yep.
I've got loads of 3 redacted acquisitions. I'm full of stuff I shouldn't have. So I'm
Full of
fine.
redactedness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for viewers, we don't necessarily describe what these things are right now, but as they're used in the game, we'll get a description of what it is that turn up. It might be cans of beer and packs of crisps. It might turn out to be something completely different by the time they're used.
Yeah, I'll take a luxury item and one of the redacted items.
Yep, sure.
If that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That leaves me a recon.
As leader as well, I'm going to note, you can note down that you've got a D8 advantage die when it comes to the scouts phase of the battle that's upcoming. In the scout phase, so the first bit of it.
Okay.
But then, are you going to the reactor facility or the mental acuity testing area? Or you can roleplay it out as you discuss it amongst yourselves. It's up to you.
All I can think is that we went for a redacted facility last time on the last island, and it hurt us.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
Fastest way to the volcano there, though.
Yeah, but who knows what they've got lined up in there? I mean, they don't hide it for nothing, do they? I mean, I'm hurt here, man. I'm hurt. I don't think I can face any more pain.
No, I understand. I can understand it might be the military way to sort of, go the way we're not supposed to go, but I think we just have to we have to be realistic in this situation. If we're gonna get through, I think we might have to just take the sort of simpler route this time. What do you think?
Well, the way I see it is that it's a level on the game that we're not ready for yet. It's blanked out for a reason. We should go the way that we're meant to go.
You've changed, man. You've changed. It's working. It's working. The program's
response,
working.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that nail's been hammered down. Yeah, let's get to the mental acuity then.
Mental acuity.
Okay, the crisps and beer are all too quickly gone, and if any of you smoke, the little stubs that you can get out of the cigarettes, they don't last much longer either, although maybe you manage to pocket a couple for the journey, and then head across to the bare rocky slope opposite, and the sleek modernist building of steel and glass. It's quite a short hop across there, In fact, it's more arduous to get down all the flights of stairs again than it is to get across to the other side. And another bit of a slope doesn't really fill you with joy. But at least no one's attacked you yet or anything like that. The skies outside now are cold and blue and reflected on the mirror glass. The storm or whatever else seems to have passed. And as you approach and enter the building, not challenged by anyone, it seems the interior is dry and chilly and smells like bleach, almost as if people have been here to clear it out before you got there. There's a large open space with cubicles and a red and orange carpet underfoot. There seems to be like a white noise hum, like unseen machinery, electronics, or maybe a computer centre or a server farm or something that's buzzing away, but you can't see it. But it becomes clear from the production signs on the walls and various other things that each of you is to take a cubicle and take a challenge competing in puzzles on a small monochrome computer terminal, with the first team to achieve the best overall score winning. So it appears other people have been before. That weird bleachy smell does make you wonder about what it was that happened, but there's no one here now. But a sort of mechanised female voice comes over the tannoy system saying, "Please take your seats now. Testing will begin in 1 minute."
I take a cubicle seat.
Yeah, get comfy.
First one.
Yeah. Let's get in there.
Okay, you all sit down, and as you've taken your seats, and it gets down to about 10 seconds, almost as if it's a tea show, this would be dramatic for people there. Some people burst in, like sweating off their face. The blazers are off, just the turtlenecks on. They're running, going, "Quick, lads, quick!" And it looks like, for all the world, like a bunch of, I don't know, salesmen or executives or something on some kind of like boys away day kind of thing. Like they're more used to boardrooms or gents clubs perhaps, or, you know, playing golf. But they've sort of turned up here and they all rush and plonk their own headsets on as well. And then one of them winks over at you and goes, "Oh yeah, easy, this money will be easy. Easy money. Come on lads, we got this. Look at the state of these guys. No problem." Right. And they all sit down at their particular screens ready for them. Testing commences. And immediately questions start to come up in a barrage. Almost as fast as you can press buttons, and other questions coming up. Some seem peculiarly about yourselves. Like, how does it know who I am? I didn't put any details in. Or your darkest secrets you haven't told anyone. And it soon becomes exhausting. In fact, it's migraine-inducing and cruel. But this is going to be, nevertheless, a challenge beast challenge competition versus mental acuity tests, which has all the descriptors I've mentioned, which I will get dice for. So this is going to be exhausting, and it means you're going to mark extra fatigue if you fail this one. So let me put my competitor dice up. And then you can all tell me in what manner we're approaching this. So, oh, I've done that wrong. I'm glad we're not recording this. That'd be really embarrassing.
I don't like the look of that number.
Yeah, we're going to redo that. I put an extra 0 on the tens.
It should be 18 or something.
Yeah, that should be 27, but I've... Let's see if that... Oh, that's better. Yeah. Oh, there's something odd going on with my macro, I think. Yeah, you can ignore the macro. I'm just going to tell you what the target number is. It's the danger rating is 6, and the highest roll I got was a 5, so it's 11 is the target number.
I pop out a thing of Wrigley's from the small luxuries that we found. Just start chewing. This is the kind of thing that Houdini was known for, escaping from these sort of complex situations. So the minute she's in a cubicle with the headphones on, she's in her own little world trying to do that. So I'm going to bring my nickname in with a reach for that for there. But otherwise, I'm going to just go for it with the small luxuries.
Sounds good.
Well, I've done these before. I mean, this is the kind of test they give you all the time when you go for jobs. You know, it's like a psychological assessment. You know, are you a psychopath? Are you sort of like, you know, all these sort of boardroom things? This is easy peasy for me. I'm just going to bring my fairly significant mental abilities to bear on this and just sort of like head down and give them the answers that I think they want.
And how about Tarzan?
So Tarzan's just going to be trying his best with this. He's not great with these things, so he's going to be shouting out and asking the mentalist to give some help here, to take his bond to help here. So help me out, get me. So that kind of thing. So I'll be describing it, and you'll have to shout instructions to me over the cubicle.
Yeah,
Ace.
totally.
Extra fatigue if you fail.
That's right, yeah.
Right.
It's an exhausting challenge. Yeah. I think that's right. Is that the one where you fail a 1 to enter? We'll call it one where you fail to be generous. Okay.
List again.
So your team's won, so that's good news. But the bad news is that other people struggle. So those of you that suffered, you take the extra fatigue we've said, and you get 1 point of followers, which is 10,000 followers, but it's just 1 point in one box. And mentalist gets the full 11 glory, or followers, sorry, and doesn't take any extra fatigue. Yeah, exhausted is supposed to be 1 fatigue to enter, sorry, but I'll just say take out fail. That's fine.
So I've got a tightness across my chest because I've taken another injury. My heart beating in my chest. I'm trying to defibrillate myself because it's just so exhausting. I'm sweating and breathing hard.
Okay, do you want to roll 3d6 for me? Because it might age your description once I've got this number. Okay, but the result's broken hand. You might want to view that as carpal tunnel syndrome or something else, but you've injured your hand in some ways. The nature of the injury.
Yeah, it's that old RSI injury. It's come on those computer games. Something's happened, so it's all seized up, and my right arm is just in a claw.
Terrible. How's things going for Houdini?
I think the Wrigley's backfires as there's maybe a little. It'll accept audio, and I put that on immediately, thinking I'm going to use call signs and stuff. But it just keeps picking up the chewing that I'm doing, all the background noise. So it keeps doing it. I keep trying to stop it and do it, and I just get completely flustered and frustrated, and end up like throwing the keyboard to one side. But it's still rolling, so I have to like then pick the keyboard back up and plug it back in and try and hope to get it back in. But it's not going well.
Yeah, and mentally, so you can see on the big HDMI screen they've got on the wall, like the Galloway's team on the other side, like they're going up as your team's kind of like going down in a trend, and the two lines are crossing over each other.
I see the other team doing well, and I think, oh no, what's going on? I can hear like banging from the other sides of the cubicle. I've no idea what's going on. So I kind of do this sort of like take a deep breath, and all the questions are coming up, and they're like things that sound suspicious, like, you know, scammy security card things, like, you know, what was the name of your first pet and what street name do you live on, all that sort of business. And this is all easy. This is easy to me. I cut through it. My shark-like corporate nature just sort of like casts aside all the sort of ominous things that they're trying to get me to talk about or trying to fess up to. Yeah, and I sort of keep out of sight, bang on the doors, bang on the cubicle walls to try and sort of like rouse my compadres to sort of like keep at it. And with a bit of luck, start to see the Galloway's team start to sort of like drop a little bit. Come on, guys, we can do this.
You do, and with your own. You're giving the answers they want rather than the truthful answers, which is just scoring you bonus points every round for some reason. It's getting these little step increases in your little graph. So right at the end, by like 1 mark, your team beats Galloway's. And yeah, congratulations, party poppers go off and things like that. There's like little sparkle cannons, confetti cannons that boost off from somewhere out of the windows. You've no wonder they need to clean the place after this happens. As you all stand up to punch the air and high five each other over the top of the canacles, you can see Galloway and his companions like jerking about as horrendous electric shocks are being placed through the headphones, and there's a smell of burning skin and burnt hair, and After a while, there's just a crackling, just a horrible, acrid stench. But Galloway and his team of sales reps move no more.
Game over, man. Game over.
One of the sets of lockers to one side pops open of its own accord as the electromagnetic locks remotely switched, or perhaps done automatically. Who knows? You certainly don't know who's behind all this stuff yet. And swings open, so you've got a chance to collect some prizes. And it looks like it was Mentalist again, who's still your leader, right? Doing very well this island. Maybe if you'd been charged all the time on the first island, things would have gone a lot better. Who knows? Who knows? You can't say, can you? So let's have a look. The mental acuity testing area. In there are 3 Remington M870 shotguns.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure American viewers will be shouting at me if I've said the number wrong. You'd presumably say it in 870 or I don't know. Whatever. Remington shotguns. There is a PSG-1 sniper rifle, singular. And there are 2 more sets each of small luxuries and survival gear.
All right.
And it's up to you as leader to dish them out.
Well, I figure one Remington each sounds fair. The sniper rifle. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, the Remington M870. That's I'll take one of those.
Okay, yeah, pass them out. The sniper rifle. I don't know. Yeah, Houdini. This sounds like you're more you than me.
Yeah, I'll start stripping it and then stop, and as I don't really know what I'm doing. And yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's pretty look down it, turn the sight on, or try and turn the sight on and say, yeah. It's pretty heavy piece
look
of
at the
kit.
scope
Best I
on
keep
that.
this. Yeah.
No one notices the extra spring that's left behind when you put that together. It's just lying on the carpet.
And then just split the other stuff equally. Seriously, Mentalist wants to build He wants to build bridges here.
Nice, I think a luxury and a gear for each of the other guys.
Luxury and a gear, yeah.
Lovely stuff. Okay, so your moment of elation got you over the fact that there's a room full of corpses that you're sharing with them. It doesn't take long before that stench to start to bring home to you that this is Deathmatch Island. Although you've had a relatively easy ride so far, things may turn nasty at any moment. From the testing area, as leader, you've got to decide. You could still go for the reactor facility if you want, towards the volcano. That is one of the paths open to you. And the other one is to go to the hallway complex at the top of the southern mountains.
Up the hills, up to the mountains, or the reactor.
We've all got shotguns now.
Yeah. We've leveled up.
Reactor it is then, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably some good stuff in there.
Lock and load.
Yes, everyone does that.
Somebody might want ammunition as a shell goes flying off.
Oh God! Yeah.
Nice. So you head towards the frozen lake to the north of you. It's a real brutalist 8-story concrete ziggurat of a building. As you approach, a speaker crackles to life and is barely comprehensible, but it seems to be someone telling you to stay away or something like that. Hard to tell through the static, and then repeats itself. So at first you kind of jumped that someone might be specifically speaking to you, and then you realise it's just an automated message that's going over and over again. Do you approach anyway and ignore the warning?
Yeah, I can't hear that. I can't hear that. Can you?
What noise?
Yeah.
Okay, you approach the damp concrete and green algae covered building, and there's a rusty metal door that's got the browny red stains are kind of up in the concrete and stuff. You're not even sure if it's locked. It might have just been rusted shut. So you start to put your backs into it and try and break your way in. And it's at that point that you notice there's in the metal, you have when you have a lamp in a metal grid sort of thing on the wall. You notice that something's spinning around, And you think, oh, maybe if there were light bulbs still on that, there'd be some kind of like warning light going. But it's just like there's a weird whirring noise. You're like, is that you? And you oh, right, okay. And it's at that moment you see like a white transit van comes screaming down the pathways and spills out a bunch of guys in orange like hazmat suits, and they're armed with FAMAS assault rifles. And the incident response team is here to sort you out for trying to break into the reactor where you shouldn't be. So you're suddenly faced with some paramilitary machine gunists, for want of a better phrase, and they're going to try and gun you down like dogs. So this is going to be a deathmatch challenge as they're trying to face off against you. And I'm going to try and my other macro this time. I've pressed the wrong one last time to see if that works.
Yeah. So while you do that, am I right in thinking we can only use redacted acquisitions in this? Is this going to be a redacted challenge, or is it going to be a?
That's right. Yes. So because production's remotely switched off your other things, even though you got nice shotguns and everything, because you're in a redacted area, you can't use them. But if you have redacted acquisitions, you could describe them as a gun or something else that you might want to use. That's something you can bring in.
Ah, it is interesting.
And the danger level is only 5. Okay. See if that works out. Right, there, good. Yeah, I've sorted my macro out now. So it's only a 10, but it is going to be a dangerous challenge, which I'll not guess this time. I will actually look up what that means. So we're doing it all right. It has been a while since we played. Dangerous means you mark 1 injury when you fail instead of fatigue. So it just goes straight to an injury. Okay, I'm ready to hear your pictures of how you're going to approach this challenge.
Okay, I think discretion is the better part of valor, and that's they didn't call me Houdini for nothing back in the services, as I have a level 2 redacted acquisition, which I think is like a set of keys. So I like vanish from view and sort of let myself in, a little sort of lookout, sort of gatekeepers thing, and bust open and switch off the alarm, sowing confusion among them, and hopefully my friends will deal with them, or they'll just get confused and realize, oh, maybe we're not competitors, maybe we're meant to be in here, from it.
Go.
So Tarzan's going to go in full Tarzan mode with the call sign, and make the most of this. This could be the moment he gets some followers at last. And the redacted item he has got is a smoke bomb. So to cover Houdini, he's going to let that smoke bomb go.
Smart.
Well, I'm out of my element here. I'm not trained for combat. All I can do is sort of open fire, try to sort of, I don't know, anticipate where these this hazmat team guys are going to sort of, shoot, and try and sort of dodge my way out as best as possible. This is desperate stakes for the mentalist now.
Beautiful. Okay, roll them bones. Let's see how it works out for you.
That's more like it.
Unbelievable.
Excellent. So, Tarzan and Mentalist, you need to roll your name dice to see who's actually best.
Oh.
Do
we go again?
Go again, yeah. I need to know who's won.
Oh, by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah, the skin of your teeth. Okay, so nobody suffered, so you don't take any injuries. That's the good news. And Mentalist is going to get the full glory again, so you're going to get 10 followers. The other two of you get 5 followers each. And yep, the ordering is Houdini describes his action first, then we'll go to Tarzan, and then we get Mentalist to tell us how they're defeated ultimately.
So I think, as described, I pop out these keys that I've done. They let me into the little gatehouse thing, and I'm able to disable the alarm. But then the 2 windows out of the gatehouse don't face towards the place where the van's coming from and everyone else is. So I do that, and the alarm stops, and I just sort of stay there listening for the sounds of shooting or anything to stop. and have to like just wait there for a bit to see what happens. As I realise I'm not going to go out, and I've got to stay in here.
Very good. Tarzan.
So I can see the maneuvers that Houdini is making. So this is me in deathmatch mode. This is the mode that I most prefer. So I'm down on my belly. I'm unhooking this redacted smoke bomb, and it goes whizzing in the air. And it's a big purple cloud of thick smoke. And I'm going to give a little smile in the hope that there's a camera looking, because he believes that this is his moment, and he's gonna actually get some glory at last for this achievement, that he's going to win it for the team. But out of his corner of his eye, you can see that Mentalist is on maneuvers again. So, oh man.
It's poor old Ted. He's got no idea what's going on. I mean, like, luck seems to have kind of fallen his way on this island. It's bound to go wrong sooner or later. So he's dodging, he's weaving, all the rest of it. And then, I mean, maybe it is luck, because like the wind changes, perhaps, and that thick purple cloud that Tarzan deployed turns out to be not just smoke after all. There's how can I put it? An active ingredient in it. And maybe the next thing they know, the hazmat guys are all going, ah, and fleeing back into the van as quickly as possible. And we don't defeat them by, knocking them on the ground, but maybe they flee, maybe sort of like they've had their own weapon turned against them, and the hazmat suits are melting and falling into bits, and they're just legging it for the horizon.
I was just going to say exactly that you suddenly see degradation on the hazmat suits. And fearing themselves at risk anyway. The instant response news unit dive back into their van and screech away in the opposite direction. So you can eventually. It takes a little bit of time, but you do find where Houdini's got to. It's not called Houdini for nothing. It takes a little bit of effort. But you manage to wink him out of his little secret place, and you can head into the reactor building itself. You're not sure how long you've got. Maybe the instant response team will get another response team. Maybe there'll be more people. Maybe they'll bring dogs next time. So you can't hang about, but you've got a chance to have a quick look around. It's all vast and empty inside, pretty humid. It is at least warm in here for a change, so you get a chance to warm up a little bit. And there's that static buzz in the air of heavy machinery at work. But scanning around these derelict rooms and just really looking for anything. There's like weird things like dot matrix printers that seem to be endlessly pumping out paper with information on, which looks like, I don't know, like astronomical coordinates or something like that. Who knows? Who even refills them? It doesn't look like there's anyone here who could put more paper in, so you don't know why. But like entire rooms are filled with that green and white paper with the punch holes down the side and other weird and wonderful things. There's a room filled with slugs, just millions of them, over like what were house plants in one corner have like taken over half the room. It's like a subtropical environment out there, enjoying themselves. But amongst all the other nonsense that you find, you've got basically dropped by the team that came after you. There's a FAMAS assault rifle each, but it's notably a redacted one, so it'll one that will work in redacted areas. And then you each get a tier 2 redacted acquisition, which you can describe at a later date. And there is one tier 3 redacted acquisition, which is up to our leader Mentalist to decide who gets that. Assuming you do it being equitable about the others and just handing them out.
Absolutely, yes.
I think keep it, Mentalist. I think you're the best person for that highly illegal item that we're not meant to have.
No, I think I see the military strategy at work here. Yeah, I think I see it. Yes. Target. No, look. No, we've got to work together. Yes. But yeah, split everything. Everything.
So you take it, whatever it is, in this orange case with a white skull-like Deathmatch Island logo on it. You look inside, there's a gold light, and then you put it down again.
Yeah, all of our faces.
We'll find out what that is later, maybe. Perhaps some.
Yeah.
So with that done, you have got a chance to get away. You're aware that now the sun has fully gone down and you're getting towards the night, and you're not quite sure when the alarm is going to go for the final competition for the battle of this island, but you've got to assume it's fairly soon because you spent a lot of time going up and down mountains and staircases and searching around places. And so far, you've not got much in the way of food to bring back for Callisto, if indeed that was something you were going to do.
Yeah. That's
But
a good point.
two choices, really. One is to go to the emergency congregation facility to your west directly. The other is, with your aching thighs, to head up to the volcano, which seems to have some kind of challenge event there, because you can see the deathmatch orange flag fluttering on the top enticingly.
Well, is this where we sort of decide to make or break with Callisto? Because like the emergency congregation facility sounds like it might have supplies or something, possibly. Alternatively, we go to Mount Doom.
I mean, we've come to the island and not go up the volcano. It seems like
Yeah.
the wrong choice. Now
It's on my bucket list. We need to
nobody's
get up
broken
there.
a bone yet, have they?
That's right, yeah. It's well, shall we?
Is your hand all right, by the way, Tarzan? It looks a bit.
The claw.
You keep dropping that shotgun.
Oh, shall we go to see a volcano?
I mean, what could possibly go wrong, right? So it seems like a pretty good idea at first. You start hiking your way up. You're feeling quite enlivened because you got away with heading to a redacted area and got away with it, and you've now got some new weapons and things. You're scared off an instant response unit, so maybe production aren't that scary after all. Maybe you've been fearing them too much. But it's a long old slog, and it is well and truly night time by Togo. Super chilly. The wind's whipping across here with no protection. So you're veritably shaking when you get up there. But thankfully, you can start to feel some heat as you do get towards the top of this dark rock slope. You're crunching through drifts of snow by this point, but the caldera beyond has, apart from a challenge in it, some lava or red magma or something. Maybe you're not an geologist, but red hot stuff that's bubbling away with fat explosions and yellowy red, orange glows coming up. The stinky rotten egg smell of sulphur and that kind of thing. And as you get in the caldera itself, but quite uncomfortable heat actually. You were glad initially of the warmth, and now it's getting a bit. You're starting to get a sweat on, and wondering if they take your blazers off or not. You note that across the top of the caldera is a metal walkway with about a 15-foot, sort of 5-meter gap in the middle, maybe, with some like chains that have been strung down from an upper gantry. And on the opposite side is another team who look, if you were to say like anything, if the other guys were salesmen, this lot, led by Sunday, a woman with sort of like the sort of headband earmuff things, but with the ponytail at the top, if you know that sort of thing. Her and her associates seem to be, if anything, like a team of CrossFitters or something. They're all doing lunges or stretches, box jumps. They're all kind of like getting limbered up for this, high-fiving. Woo, I mean, this is what I live for, and lots of that going on. And there's a little display on each side that's sort of like sat there like a laptop that's just propped up that pings as you come in. Welcome to entering the competition. Today's challenge is to leap across the other side and get to the other team's flag, as you see it fluttering on their side as well, on the other side of the volcano. They will also try to get to your flag. And there's this sad kawaii figure who goes, however, if you win, you get prizes. Ha ha ha. There's like a ding ding ding, little sparkles across the screen. You all have 15 minutes. Good luck. And the screen kind of freezes and crackles a bit and then just goes black. And Sunday and her team, come on, this is what I live for right now. Woo! And some of them start pounding down the metal gantry in your direction. It's going to be a challenge beast contest to get across, but how are you going to approach it and what do you do?
I think CrossFitters, finally someone we can all unite against.
I hate these guys.
Watch the comment section below.
It's a way to get hashtag engagement.
as they start running towards the stock comes up and the light gets out and it's just like, bring it. As the sniper rifle gets made, we don't have to leap across if they don't make it, and I'll take the sort of defense of just shooting them
Sure. To be clear, someone does have to make it across, otherwise you're...
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That'll be mentalist though.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
No, you don't all have to get across, but yeah.
I'm spending a fatigue to bring in deathmatch as I'm
Yeah, that's a surprise.
shooting.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well, Tarzan's desperate for followers, so the luxury items are getting out these fresh crepes. So these trainers that were in there, and they're just gleaming white. So this is the moment to get these babies out. You know, these Air Jordans sponsored by Deathmatch. So they're going to come out.
Lovely. So yeah, there's orange stripes on, or a big orange tick down the side of the white, gleaming white leather. Ace. And how about Mentalist?
Oh man, these CrossFitters, I mean, there was always like that, the company gym, and it was always there, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then like at night after time. I had never had any time for that. I mean, it just wasn't for me. They always got that kind of like sort of vaguely sort of like superior attitude, and there's a part of me that wants to just be sort of like laying down, suppressing fire, but I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. If it looks like Tarzan is going to make a run for it, but then I'm going to follow Houdini's lead. I'm going to whip out that shotgun. And if they don't get over here, then they can't win.
Wonderful.
I'm spending a bond with mentalist based
High
on
five.
my faith that they're going to actually win this for us. So, but yeah, we do a little awkward high five.
Awkward high five.
After
Yeah.
we've stopped all coughing,
Don't quite
they're
get
limbering
it.
up. We're all like coughing our guts up, throwing up, and we've just made them like this. Having a quick smoke.
Breathing in all this sulphurous air as well.
Yeah.
And all the ash. Oh, it's not good for my lungs. Right, okay. You're doing that. Let me get you a target number then. For Sunday on a Team, CrossFit trainer, competitive, muscular, and funnily enough, dismissive is one of her other traits. You can't even run a bath, never mind a marathon. And it's going to be danger level 6, this, given the exciting nature of it. So 14 is going to be the target number. Good luck, everyone.
Are you D8 mentalist?
Yes, I'm D8 name, yeah.
Every little helps.
Oh dear. It had to happen.
Okay, so Mentalist and Tarzan, you're going to suffer. You can mark a fatigue, and you get one follower. It looks like Houdini's going to save the day. I wonder what that narration's going to be like. So you get the full 14 followers. The sufferers first. Mentalist, you'll tell us how your shotgunning doesn't work. Then we'll go on to Tarzan with his acrobatics, desperate for followers. And then finally we'll get Houdini's wrap up. So let's start with your Mentalist.
Well, as the CrossFitters come piling towards us, and I can see down over the shotgun, maybe sweat from the heat of the volcano sort of starts to run into my eyes. All of a sudden, this actual weapon doesn't feel much like those kind of Mark ones they use in those like paintball things they did at company sort of like recreation days. And I start to shake, and I'm thinking like, no, and what my shots all over the place, and like they're getting closer and closer, and I don't panic because I never panic. But bottom line is, it's just I just can't concentrate. There's something about it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm wildly shooting and just getting nowhere. And all I can see is their eyes, these CrossFitters' eyes.
They almost seem to be dodging your bullets with their nimble acrobatic leaps and stuff. It's uncanny. Tarzan.
So Tarzan's got his battle cry, but he's puffing and panting as these CrossFitters run past him. His trainers taking some pounding across the bridge, and he's trying to build up some momentum, but there's no way he's going to leap that. He's just hoping that Houdini comes good, and he gets on the chain and just like edges across slowly to the other side, not looking down, just looking up and just hoping that the CrossFitters are going to get a bullet.
There's something running down your leg. You hope it's sweat. Okay, finally, Houdini.
I think if we do this from the show, well, like we see them run towards it, and we see like the me, and then there's just a sort of just goes red, and there's gunfire, and then there's another sort of like reload sound of gunfire, and then it cuts to like just these bodies that are on there. And then looking around, it all seems a bit like, but Houdini's in the sort of zone now. As that all the training's kicked in, and so she drops the sniper rifle to the ground, and just takes the run, following in Tarzan's footsteps, expecting that she'll do that. And luckily, one of the bodies gives her just enough extra height to spring off the muscular abs of this deceased CrossFitter, to leap across and make it to the other side. The lycra helps to.
Yeah, the springiness.
Tarzan gets to the other side and he's cheering, looking for the cameras, but they're already focused on Houdini.
Yeah, it's like blood all on my leg
down.
that is trying to not turn their leg.
Excellent. And how about Mentalist? Did you kind of like walk around the side? And then
Yeah.
Now that the prize has already been established, there's no need to risk life and limb, is there? Okay, wonderful stuff. So as you sort of like get to their flag and look around to wonder what's going to go on, and there's the hissing of the odd body that's fallen off into the magma pool that's now being slowly eaten and consumed by the flames. Thankfully, the eggy smell of the sulfur masks anything more unpleasant. There's a drone or something passes overhead. It's hard to see with the smoke and ash, but a crate with the big orange silk canopy parachute kind of comes winging its way down towards you and gently collapses on the side of the caldera. And you've managed to achieve some more goods. There is a Walther P99 semi-auto pistol for each of you. There's 2 sets of climbing gear. There's one M136 84 rocket launcher. I don't know what you're going to do with that. And you also each get a special advancement. So you'll have to look at what your advancements are on your character sheet. Depending on what you pick, you can describe what it is that your special advancement is. If you pick, for example, heal an injury, it might be a lot of bandages and painkillers and things. If it's something else, it might be better gear or whatever it wants to be. But that's up to you lot to tell us.
So as I get to the other side, I realise that my hand has got more flexible, and so I've got use of my hand again. So that's good. Now that we've got all these weapons, I can actually fire them now.
Yeah, I think my the leap has convinced me that that's proved to me that my broken leg is now fully healed. The island must be Callisto was right. It's
Could we take it that maybe the stuff that I saw in the reactor, that could only something that information is finally sort of filtering through my brain after all the stress, and maybe like I'm beginning to unlock some link between whatever redacted is and increase my redacted capability by a die type?
Sure.
Doable?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
There's probably some kind of reactor manual in a A4 folder, a binder of stuff that you've just not had a chance to look through yet, but
perfect.
You flick through while you're on the side of the volcano.
Always time for a corporate manual.
That's right. Rubbing your hands with clay. And it says you're all congratulating yourselves and busting out whatever small luxuries you've got left to have a little picnic up here where it's still quite warm. That the klaxons go off around the island as it's time for the phase 2. The battle is about to commence, and it seems that there's strips of lights, the spotlights, there's flares and stuff, and it all seems to be centering around that emergency congregation facility, almost as if it's been set up purely so that the death match can happen. As you start to wend your way down, because you know that if you stay in the wrong area when the death match occurs, then you'll end up dead probably. You can see that coming from the south in the business park area, there's Callisto with a stream of followers that seem to be heading up there. They don't seem particularly well prepared, but from other areas as well, you can see other competitors who seem a bit more with it in gangs that look perhaps a bit more like yours, that seem loaded for bear and have kit, or have got like ash smeared across their faces and a tie wrapped around the head, or other things like that look a bit more business-like. So you can make your way down to the emergency congregation facility and decide what you're going to do. So we're going to do this as a battle. So it comes in 3 phases. The first phase is to scout, so that's when you look around and you might describe infiltration of the group or just getting the lay of the land or setting traps or ambushes. So that's how you set things up. Then we go to a phase where you split between stopping a threat or threats or seizing the initiative for the final battle. And you might have to split into two groups for that. And then finally we'll do the Battle Royale, the finale, which will be a death match at the end to see whether you survive this island or not.
Can we establish who's got the rocket launcher?
It's up to the leader, which I think it was you that time, so you get to pick who gets it.
Yeah, I'm gonna I sort of look around and think he might need it and say Tarzan, and like hand in this. You'll have used these before in like those computer games and stuff, won't you?
Yes, ma'am. Report for duty.
Yeah.
This is like Christmas for Tarzan, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll hand that over, and then
I'm not going to let you down.
yeah, just so the safety is there. If you try and keep it on when you're not like using it, when you're like running around, and your hand's okay now, is it?
But yeah, where's the fun in that? Safety on. And in the scout phase, we've got an extra dice we earned earlier as well.
Yeah.
We can use, can't we, Gaz?
Well,
that's right.
One of you has, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a D8. So it's up to you which of the, let's get the correct nomenclature, which capability you use, depending on how you describe what you're doing. So if you're infiltrating another group, you might use social game, for example. If you're going to snipe people, you might use deathmatch. It's up to you to describe how you do that. And I need to make a target number for you, don't I? Ooh, exciting. I get to roll some dice as well. One of them, and none of those. Danger level is going to be 5 at the minute, so 13 is going to be target number for scouting.
Okay, as my legs now better, I'm going to be running up to get to higher ground and get the lay of these groups and sort of how they're organised, where they're going, using my recon gear, the walkie-talkies we've got to relay this information back, but using Challenge Beast. Is that?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
To run around and do that and report back. And also, I'm going to spend my bond with Tarzan because we've had the moment of me putting some faith in him by the ultimate expression of faith of giving someone a rocket launcher, giving a civilian a rocket launcher.
Sounds good.
Are you D6 or D8? Name die, Tarzan.
I'm a D6, I'm afraid. I'm trying hard to get those followers, but
So I'll give it to you. No, I don't give it to you. No, I'll give it. No.
Well, if this is the scouting section, which is like the game, the lay of the land, or like you say, the other group guys are kind of like well prepared and all the rest of it. Is it because we're sort of tooled up now? We've got gear. Is it possible we can sort of like I can sneak into the fringes of that, try and get sort of like see what kind of gear they've got, gain some information that way? I guess it'd be snake mode, for sort of like infiltration. And the plan is to sort of like find out what they've got and then get out of the way and get back to my friends.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
I think Tarzan's going to. He's wanting to make friends in this, so I think Callisto's mob is going to be the ones that he's going to try and get working together. So using his very poor social skills, so his chances of doing it are very poor. But just to get them mobilised to look for places and to set some traps up to help us in this. So some tripwires and just show them some basic techniques, some guerrilla fighting techniques.
Sounds good to me. Okay, 13 is your target number.
Oh dear.
Okay, a fatigue each then for Mentalist and Tarzan, and you get 1 follower each. Houdini's going to get 13 followers. So, Mentalist, if you start by telling us how your infiltration doesn't work, then we'll go on to Tarzan and then finally Houdini.
Well, I see all these other people, these well-prepared people, and I think, yeah, this is easy. I can just like slip in here a few of the right words in the right ears. I can get the sort of like, but get the lay of the land. But it's like it's always a way. You get to the end, towards the end of the story, and the luck starts to run out, and they sort of pretty soon sort of like catch on to the fact that I'm not with them. I'm not one of them, and before long I have to leg it before I get sort of like beaten thoroughly for trying to sort of infiltrate their ranks, and with my tail between my legs, I disappear back in the direction of my friends.
Fair play. Tarzan.
So Tarzan takes position and he is walking up and down the line as they approach. And he thinks he's William Wallace at this moment and getting them into battle position and just shouting words of encouragement. Come on, this is how we defeat them. Get into position. But they're just walking past him. His voice is just carried in the wind. And like, once again, he's humiliated. It feels like the dabbing moment once again on that island. It should have been a moment of glory, but it's just a moment of patheticness. I've even got a rocket launcher.
If only real life was like Call of Duty. All those skills you've developed just don't seem to be transferring, do they? Okay, so it's looking bad, but what does Houdini do?
I think as I'm like running from like hilltop to hilltop and doing breaker code 6, and then everyone else is like, what's we haven't agreed these codes. What's code 6 be? What's 7 on 30 degrees? I'm reporting that like even the tooled up people, they've got like a pistol or the odd rifle and stuff. They've not got the arsenal that we've got of like pistols all round and stuff. I think I even maybe see a sniper up on an observation tower. But I recognise that it's the same. I look on my binoculars. It's the same sniper rifle that I like discarded on the volcano. So I know it's got like they've not checked the ammo. There's no ammo left in it. That's why I dropped it, I think, or did I? Maybe it's got one bullet in. Who can tell? And so I'm reporting back to them. And there's a defensible area they've not noticed that we can see next to Callisto's and places that maybe we can even protect Callisto. So I'm shouting in barely intelligible sort of military call signs down here that luckily Tarzan understands just enough from his Call of Duty days, although he is a bit of a noob at it, whatever the terminology is. He can that we're able to get into a reasonable position to defend.
Yeah, sounds great. So you can see as you all scout around and got closer, the congregation facility is this pentagonal set of concrete walls, but inside, although it's gravel and shale and stuff outside, there's an open air field of grass. There's a flock of seagulls squawking about in there, some sheep moving about, and all there's sort of like pseudo battlements with these odd crenellated concrete structures at the top of like dragon's teeth or something like that. But they're encrusted with the droppings of the seagulls over many years and stuff like that, you imagine. So they've got weird white tips to them. But it looks like Callisto's kind of like leading all the followers in there. And that's like, oh, this is the promised land. This is what, look, there's mutton to eat. And there's birds' eggs. And they're not really getting the whole klaxon going off and they're in trouble. And you note that the sniper-led team that you've identified that have come from the zoological research station, some of them are dressed in animal skins and stuff. They're like almost wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing, like getting closer and closer. And they just seem to be laughing that they've got Callisto penned in at this point. People like yourselves are perhaps viewing as extras they might want to take off. And amongst the 2 or 3 gangs, they're kind of looking at each other like, we'll kill all them first. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough to get to Island 3. We don't need to fight each other. You can see the sort of like tacit nods amongst each other as they side-eye and also heading towards Callisto. So there's an opportunity here to seize the battleground. Maybe you can turn the ambush on the ambushers. That's one part of the challenge. But there's also a couple of threats. One of the threats is that Callisto and her followers will just be slaughtered, which up to you whether you're alright with that or not. Another threat is that the amount of carnage that's going to happen is going to reduce medical help for the rest of the competition because so many supplies will be used up at this point. So there's two threats possibly to face. Callisto and her followers just getting massacred as they pen themselves in, and the medical situation is going to get markedly worse unless someone defends against it. And then you arguably need to seize the initiative for the final battle as well. Who's going to do what?
Well, it's clear from my previous experience at the volcano that Ted's not cut out for this military business. It seems really clear. So I reckon my best plan is to try and sort the threat out with Callisto and her followers getting slaughtered by trying to sort of raise the alarm, trying to get them to take cover, trying to sort of like click what's going on and sort of take charge of themselves a little bit whilst my companions can provide cover or indeed carnage.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think Tarzan's going to go into deathmatch mode and put some suppressing fire into the field to give some cover, I think, just so that we can seize the initiative.
Right. Trying to guide your opponents down certain paths.
Cool, yeah. I'm going to try and reduce the drain on medical supplies by making it so none need to be wasted on the ambushing force, because there's nothing to save. So I'd like dip my hands in some ashy mud and put the H Houdini on, and then disappear into the shadows. And there's just a chunk as I take my shotgun to pick some of them off.
Or maybe it's the H for Rimmer. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, L. Yeah.
Okay. The target number is going to be 15.
Oh God. Right. Okay. Oh, that's 8.
Let's light this up.
Oh, so because you succeeded at scout as well, someone's got a D10 advantage die to use in this, either now or in the finale. If you already rolled, it's too late, obviously. But
yeah. It's too late by far.
Far be it from me to value medical supplies over anything else, but I'm going to spend it here, I think, because I know the lay of the land, because I did all that scouting, didn't I?
Yeah. You know where the aid stations are and all that kind of stuff. Secret caches.
Yeah. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was worth doing as well.
Okay, 15 followers for Houdini then. The rest of you suffer, so you get 1 follower and you take a fatigue. If you run out of fatigue, you take an injury. Okay, so Mentalist.
It's terrible. It's an absolute shambles. These folks are so busy listening to their leader that they don't pay any attention to me whatsoever. I'm desperately trying to tell them to get down, to pay attention to what's going on and to see the actual truth of what's happening. But they're too busy looking, and they're wide-eyed and eyes in the sky and looking at each other adoringly, and like it's all going to go horribly, horribly wrong.
And it's only when that one sniper bullet that they've got for the rifle is used, and from a mile away, Callisto's head bursts like a watermelon. There's haunting music, everything goes slow-mo, and it's a Saving Private Ryan moment at the start as you're going, no! Maybe dropping to your knees like in Platoon or something. Why wouldn't they listen? Oh, terrible. Okay, moving on to Tarzan.
Tarzan, he's doing his battle cry to lay down some suppressing fire to try and seize the initiative. The first launch goes in the wrong direction. He's got it facing the wrong way, so it goes over his shoulder. So he kind of turns it round and puts it in, but it's just firing in the air. And far from seizing the initiative, people are just watching the fireworks show. Everybody's just stopping as these things explode in the air rather than on the ground where they should be.
Yeah, your last charge shoots off in the direction of the reactor, hitting that to great effect. There's a particularly large explosion from that direction. But it doesn't have you. Houdini.
Yeah, but as the sort of smoke clears, we see the bodies of this team already whittled down, and some key players are removed. I think we maybe see the medical teams fly in from the show. We see a lot of them like arrive at some of the bodies very quickly, like open the doctor's bag, shut it again, open the medical kit, shut it again, like not not wasted as we see all the precious medical supplies still safe, at least.
Safe for now, yeah. Maybe you've whittled down to it. Maybe there's not going to be enough competitors for the last island the way things are going, but that's why the production medical team had to be here. But they very quickly disappear again once the missiles and rockets start flying everywhere and the reactor goes up.
Oh, God.
So maybe they leave some of the gear behind, but they very soon get out of there. Okay, so we're nearly at time, and we're in a short window because of player scheduling and my time and stuff like that. So I'm rushing the game a little bit for viewers at home, but we need to get to a conclusion. So we've just got one little thing we need to do now, and that's the Battle Royale. So you fail to seize, so it means you're going to be at a slight disadvantage there. And what happens is that as you're trying to hunt down these other groups, you've whittled them down. But what you've done is like just taken the chaff, and it's the wheat, it's the real actual survivalists and preppers and ex-military and people like that have survived. And as you're going in to like pick amongst the remains of Callisto and her followers to see who's left, you realise you've entered into their trap, and a lot of them that appeared to be dead or whittled down, in fact, were just faking it. And they've kind of caught you within this 5-walled killing ground. As some of them pop up from the ground, some of them appear over the crenellations, and they've got the gate covered with their own rocket launcher, with a guy who actually looks like he's holding it the right way around and knows how to use it. So it's going to be a deathmatch challenge, as it always is. So because you failed to seize and they had, it's going to cost you fatigue to enter, and you have to enter because it's the final deathmatch. If you can't take fatigue, it's an injury.
I take an injury, and it's my final injury box.
So yeah, I'll let you free narrate it rather on the table. What's happened? Is it something to do with the firing of the rocket launcher, or what else has happened on you?
Yeah, I think once the rocket launch is just exploded, so it's just that the shrapnel's hit me, and I'm bleeding out from the wounds from that. It looks spectacular, and I'm hoping that somewhere at home it turns into a meme.
Undoubtedly, it will do. Undoubtedly.
Yeah, I take an injury as well. I think the camera pans to Houdini making her way towards the killing ground, and she seems to be limping from the other leg, as one of these preppers, as he went down, managed to get a knife into it, and there's sort of blood soaking her cyan jumpsuits from there.
Okay, looking rough for the home team. Your target number is 13.
Okay, I have faith in Mentalist though, because he's managed to get us through everything. So I'm going to spend my bond with him.
Yep.
And I'm going to use the pistol that we've had all along from the previous island, in the hopes that that'll make a difference.
I'm going to use my the Phallus assault rifle we picked up. I think it was in the reactor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lay down some fire.
Oh, it's heartbreaking for Tarzan. Well, the good news is you are actually going to make it to the next island, but it was looking like that was going to be it. But yeah, name die for Tarzan, and Houdini plays to see who's actually worst. I could have put money on this. Oh, you did your best, but unfortunately, Tarzan's the worst. So you're both going to take another injury each, and you get one follower. And Mentalist is going to get all the glory.
Oh my good heavens!
I haven't got any injury boxes left, Gaz. What does that mean?
That means you get to expire for us and tell us how you meet your end.
I think it's the explosion of the rocket launcher. He thinks he's still going, and he just gives a little smile, and a stray bullet hits his head, and he goes the watermelon way. So all that's left is that cyan blazer and salmon pink gone red, and his headless corpse as he drops. Now that's a meme. That's a dark web somewhere.
That's very dark. I'd like to think the bodies drop next to Callisto, so they kind of like two headless, and like hands drop into each other, something equally unlikely.
Houdini's making her way from cover to cover and getting her feeling down, but on the sight of Tarzan actually dropping, expiring, she just ducks behind cover, and we see a flashback to her moment in the Forces, where she's just hanging back in cover while this assault is going on, and she just can't do it, and it's like she's back in the little gatehouse again, just hiding and waiting for it to all blow over, as she waits and waits and waits, and we just see like this flashback thing, and there's maybe a little tear goes down as we see her hands start shaking from that, and some as yet unspecified injury occurs while she waits and prays that Mentalist can save the day.
And maybe this has got something to do with that thing that's from her background, that shameful thing. Maybe it's similar. Okay, who's going to save the day for us?
Okay, well, I can see it all going south, and I'm back in the volcano, and I can see the CrossFitters, and knowing how my nerve failed that time, and I start to panic for a second, and then we get a super montage of 80s action movies going through his head, and it's sort of like all begins to sort of make sense, and the gun starts to feel good, and he starts opening fire. Then just out of the corner of his eye, he sees something, and it's Tarzan. It's Tarzan's head. And that's it. Something snaps inside Mentalist, snaps, and he kind of delves into the kind of X-rated sort of like violent stuff that he got from the video shop when he was a teenager, and basically just lays out like a it's terrifying to watch. Even Houdini, who's seen some stuff in her time, kind of like is a bit whoa, and then like after all the sort of like the gunfire finally sort of like starts to sort of like disappear, there's just like silence and smoke and kind of like. I'm just looking and wondering why I'm not injured.
Indeed. And as the drone starts to pan back from your haunted face and scanning across the bodies of dozens of people around the place, staggering out amongst the smoking ruins, and from a hiding place, of course, comes Houdini as well. There's only 10 competitors left to go forward to Island 3 as you start to wend your way back. But that's probably we're going to leave the session due to our time constraints. So thanks very much for playing, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching at home. That was a really condensed version of what we do. Your other games have got an extra half an hour to sort of pad it out a bit more, so that's why we were really punchy. But that's it for this week, and hopefully we'll see you again soon for another Unconventional GMs. Bye for now.